everybody, welcome to your reading today. Today's reading is for December 19th, 2019, and today is Friday. Yay! Alright guys, so as many of you guys know, I have been doing a lot of energy work recently, going through some transitions, all good stuff, and I recently had a DNA activation with the lovely Misty. Remember her, I'll say it again, where you can find her is not on YouTube at this moment. It's on Facebook, and her page is called Magic in the Cosmos. Okay, so Magic in the Cosmos. You must go check her out if you feel pulled to do DNA activation or energy clearing or anything. Go check out what she has. Also, they sell jewelry. Her and her sister do jewelry. It's great. I think you can also check out her new page. I think it's, if I remember right, because I'm not in front of my computer per se. In Another Dimension is what that's called. So check that out. Oh, thank you. Okay. Actually, Misty, that's your energy coming through if you're watching this video. In Another Dimension. Thank you. Look at me getting everything all messed up. All right. So it's called In Another Dimension. Also check out Magic in the Cosmos. Also check out my girl M. Her page is called M Intuition Tarot. All right. So guys, I gotta let you know, earlier, if you notice, like, I'm using like a white border now around my daily readings. Usually I use a black border, but today I feel like the energies are so much higher. Obviously, why wouldn't they be after the activation? And notice we have somebody here. I was like, oh, okay, so you want to come out? King of Cups is who's being represented as the person here on the call with us today. It's funny because before, I was feeling like a presence standing there waiting for me while I'm playing The Sims. It's a video game I love. And I just could not stop laughing as I was putting the cards down, and I was thinking about my twin and all of this. So, and he usually helps me in the 5D with my readings. However, earlier this morning I was doing a lot of listening to Christmas music, and I just felt like I just felt so happy about, you know, that energy that we would call Jesus down here. And it hit me. I was like, oh, okay, so that's what Christmas is about. That's why people, I don't want to use the word worship, but worship. And it's not to say worshiping Jesus. I mean, I don't know what the word is to say. I'm discovering as well, but it's more like just being so in awe and so looking up to, just as we would look up in admiration to a superior, like a person. In Japanese they call it senpai. So, but in English the translation isn't the best. Superior sounds bad in English. Somebody who is more wise than you, someone who's had more experience than you. We would call it more like an elder, whether or not the age is younger or more than us. It's this elder presence, and I feel that way with Jesus's energy. And I think that's why all those songs like "Oh Come All Ye Faithful" and what's the other song, "Hark the Herald Angels Sing," right? Because that kind of, I was listening to those and I felt the energy. By the way, this is all part of the reading. It's not me rambling. If you're wondering, it's all part of the reading. I felt the energy and I realized, oh, that's what we have been reacting to and wanting to worship. It's more like the arrival. Thank you. I'm seeing the sun card, by the way. Look, the arrival of an energy pattern, an energy signature that hadn't been there, and it was all about awakening us to a higher consciousness within ourselves. He's saying. So I feel that this is Jesus's energy. Okay, so you guys know me, I am not religious. So this energy that's coming through, I can't speak for him, God bless, or it, but I would assume that he's not religious at all. Okay, thank you. He said at all, okay? He said at all. They're not religious, and these are energy patterns, they're saying, that have been around from time immemorial, just before. I mean, Earth is kind of new, guys, God bless, right? And I'm seeing them say also that earth, a lot of the earthly principles, and my hands are being folded like this for some reason. I guess that's the flow of the energy. A lot of earthly principles that have come down have been, they're saying directly, what's the word? Squared away is what I'm getting, but directly, what's the word? Directly, sorry guys, I'm trying to channel and be with you. Directly brought down from the star beings that came to Earth and seeded Earth, right? So a lot of the things that we mistake, he's saying, for earthly things and earthly entities actually come from beyond the stars. And he's saying the trickery is beyond measure, because the problem is a lot of you mistake heroes for gods and things like that. It's just a lot more. And I feel like he wants to come through and say more, but I'm still getting used to the heavier channeling, guys. I know I have to loosen up a bit. See, and he looks so friendly. He's like laughing. He's like, Let's take a look at the energy. Now, remember, the energy doesn't need to look like this. The energy is coming through and using this card for us. But if you channel into the energy and if you feel it, you can connect to that energy that's here. He's like, oh yes, I'm definitely Jesus, you know, or he's like, he's kind of funny. He's like the fish, you know, the cup. Yeah, oh yeah, okay, I get it. He's saying, yeah, he's using this card for a reason. Remember the fish, the cup, the wine, the cup of wine and blood and wine and all that stuff. Yeah, and I'm hearing King of Kings, right? And he's saying there is some moral ancestry there, and even more ancestry than we know. There's just more than we know, guys, okay? So yeah, so anyway, so he's saying that we, more than ever, now is a time for us to have more discernment. And he's saying that it's so much easier to break through the mold, he's saying mold not only as mould, as in the shape and what has been molded, but also the mold as in like black mold, so to speak. He's saying it's so much more easy for him to break through the mold during Christmas time, because people are more awake, people are more aware, and people are literally turning to this concept, their concept of Jesus, which differs by person. And so it's like once you open up to it, it's easily able to come in. And so that's what he's saying, it's easier. And so that's why he's choosing to come through now at this time. All right, so sorry guys if I'm all over the place. All right, anyway, let's continue. I'm looking here, and the energy that he's showing me is almost like it's him looking down upon the earth, looking, he's saying overlooking, overseeing, okay? So there's this concept of him, wherever he is, overlooking what's going on, overlooking creation. And that's what it is, kind of like. It's not overlooking to kind of see, well, what's going on with you and who are you lying to. No, it's overseeing creation, how things have gone. And I'm looking at through the camera lens. Can you see this kind of band here? What I'm seeing, it's almost like this looks like a bridge. So he's saying he's overseeing creation and looking at the earth and how it's evolved following that bridge that was made between earth and those other beings from beyond our I want to say consciousness, but from beyond our earthly plane. So it's just a story, guys, of this is just going back to the story of creator beings and star seeds and all of this. I think a lot of times we think I'm a star seed, I'm a this, and I'm from this planet and whatnot, but it's kind of like, yes, you can be, but what does it all mean? Not only like what are you and who are you and this and that, but what does it all mean? What has it all been for? And what do you think you're doing, right? What is it that you think you're doing? And it's funny because I'm seeing these two cards. I was just shuffling and this card came out. And what I'm seeing here is like, I don't even know how best to articulate it, because I'm still seeing this as his energy, and I don't want to think of him as fighting or anything like that. But what I'm seeing, the Seven of Wands speaks of being on guard. It's almost like what okay, thank you. What was once a guided and very gifted kind of situation, this whole experiment that he is talking about. Now, in this case, I feel my own limitations now in my awareness, right? So I have to meditate a little bit more on on trusting. But that being said, look at what was once there, and now look at the clouds of doom. Look at all of the people who have erupted and risen against, and look at that. And part of me wants to feel like this, like there's a third part to this. Hold on, let me go ahead and look. Let me go ahead and take a look. Okay. All right. Because he's showing what started off, he's saying, as creator beings, creator races. Thank you. Thank you. Put the words in there. Put the words. He's saying that what started off as creator beings and creator races, look how they look the same. They pretty much look the same. And it's like they're brothers, right? And trying their hands at creating new things, creating existence, as you would call it. I'm seeing someone in a doorway, wow, for the first time, overseeing these people. Now I'm wondering who that person is in the doorway, because it's in the shadowy doorway. I don't know if you guys can see it there, but part of me wants to think, oh, is that a loving presence overlooking them? Or is that somebody overlooking them, seeing what's going on and not very much liking what it is that they're doing? And for whatever reason, you know, it is what it is. But I'm seeing then this crossing over and trying to create that which was created in a lab or something somewhere. And then this, what's the word? Promulgation? I don't know if that's the right word, but it's the word that wants to come out. This promulgation of, it just seems like war, right? Ooh, ooh, guys, like pulling teeth a little bit, okay? I need to meditate on this, but for whatever reason, this is the energy that's coming through today. God bless. But they're saying that even though these star beings, these races, these different groups got into wars with each other, right? Confusions, things like that, you see? They're saying that he's saying, that there has always been some type of benefactor that lays above. And they're saying it's that very same benefactor that is pulling you from out of your, what's the word? What are they using? Oh my gosh, the information is so coded. I just lost the word. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, this benefactor is what is pulling you out from your continuum, is the word that they're saying. Your continuum. And that's really, really interesting. Let me translate that into, just as I said that, okay, they're giving me a sign that I'm on the right path. Okay, thank you. Because I was going to say, let me translate that into our everyday speech. And the High Priestess is me. All right, there we go. Thank you. What they're trying to say and what I'm going to translate for you is basically, listen, y'all, okay? Okay, I'm a translator. Listen, they're saying that we all know, a lot of us, especially on this call, know that our world has been seeded by people from different, or, beings from other races, other galaxies, blah, 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 blah. There were wars that were fought over this Earth experiment, let's put it that way. And they're saying that many people, what started off once as this inquiry, as this golden opportunity to rise up and to learn about ourselves and to be creative, has become this war-torn, war-fraught, and not just war on Earth, but in the heavens. Everyone's trying to get a peace. Everyone's trying to understand. And yes, some races have evolved since then, but there's some, anyway. And what they're trying to say is that despite all of that squabbling at those levels with those people or beings, there's always been something that has been above it all, that has been most neutral. And see how it's standing next to, look at the two cards seem to be standing next to each other. Now that's not to say that that energy of Jesus, or as he's been known as Sananda in other places, right? It's not, I can't say much to say that, oh, they're together in the same, I don't know. But I'm just saying the alignment, thank you. They're saying the alignment has been there. It's this love, this moral code is what I'm getting again. And I'm seeing this 6 for a reason. I don't know what that 6 means. All right? Now, but they're saying there's always been that overarching energy above all that still is there. And that energy is what is coming down. It's been working with us, okay, to pull us out of our continuum is the word that he's using. Now, part of that pulling out, he says, and I'm seeing the soulmate there, right? So I'm seeing this as not just a soulmate, but twins, right? So obviously twins are helping. But part of that coming out of your continuum is not only identifying what's outside of us, like any, of course, many of you watching will be like, oh, reptilians, blah, 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 blah. We don't know, right? But not only looking at like what we're actually looking at, because to us we see one thing, but when you take off your mask and you stop lying to yourself and you get out of this fear of death and this belief of dying and, and never coming back ever and just things like that. And I'm seeing religion here, even they're saying unmasking religion. And as I'm seeing these little beads, it makes me think of these beads. And the only reason I'm thinking about these beads is because all of a sudden I was feeling like a pressure on my hand, like handcuffs. And then I looked and I was like, oh my God, my beads. But it's not coming from the beads. They're showing taking off the mask of oppression is what they're saying, and the religion and this and that. So they're asking us to come out of these ideas that bind us, fears of death, constraints put on us by religion. They're not talking about the beauty, to throw away the beauty of all of these things, but they're saying completely throw away the constraints of those things. And once you throw those things away, you start to look at yourself in another way. For example, and then you'll start to see what's around you. Of course, many of you are like, oh, well, reptilians, blah, 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 blah. And that may be the case. But it's just about seeing reality, whether it's other things or other beings or just like, why am I acting this way? But they're showing here that they're saying that once you take off this mask from yourself, you will start to see true reality. Now, how do you go about practically taking off the mask of from yourself? Let's think for a second. It's as simple as, for example, when you start to dismantle core beliefs that are outside of yourself, like religion, political parties, all these kinds of stuff, even as simple as, oh, I'm cheering only for this team, forget all the other teams in basketball. Those, you know what it is? It's over-identification. Buddha's like, yeah, over-identification. When you start to dismantle it, let's look at religion just for a second. And this is yeah, I'm sorry, I gotta be honest. They're just showing me a serpent here. Whenever I go to say religion, they just keep showing me serpents. So there's a lot of deception, they're saying, when it comes to religions on earth, because those are propagated from, you guys, listen, I gotta deliver the message. That man over there is saying that when it comes to religions on earth, you have to be very careful, because a lot of those, if not most of those, if not all of them, are things that were transmitted down to us for the sake of control. They are not real. A lot of those things are not real. They are, and even if there is some kernel of truth in there, it's completely distorted. It's not the way it's supposed to be. Anyway, he's saying it's bogus. Guys, I don't mince words. As a channeler, I just bring it through. And I'm almost like, you sure you want me to say that? But he's saying it's all fake. And so he's saying that if you were to unmask that and tell yourself, where am I being misled? Once you do that and you take off the mask and you start to realize, oh my God, if this religion, for example, whatever it is, isn't real, then that means that my identity changes. That means I'm no longer a subject of something else. And if I'm no longer a subject of something else, that means I'm no longer subordinated. If I'm no longer subordinated, that means then I am sovereign. If I'm sovereign, what does that mean? What am I sovereign for? And what am I supposed... And if that's the case, then that means that all this time... And look, as I'm saying that, my hands are going down, like the energy is going down, and we see there, that's the whole point he's saying. If I'm sovereign, that means I don't have to follow anybody. What would my life look like? And then comes the idea that, oh my God, and here it is, the idea of, oh my God, I have been living a lie. I've been living under the influence. And God forbid, guys, all the wars, the deaths, the missed connections with people, all in the name of these over-identifications, whether it's war, or, religion or politics or whatever it is. And he's saying that the whole race right now, the whole, not race as in people, but the whole race, like, ready, set, go, right now is to claim consciousness. He's saying there are people who want to have dominion over your consciousness. Then it's always been that case on earth, and it's because there are certain beings that have held control and have just pretty much been able to do whatever they want. And they're saying then there are other beings who want to help you to release that, because they believe that you have the right to choose your path. And your path, there, he's saying, is very simple. It's either to be lorded over by things that are not your lords because you have no lord, or it is to recognize your sovereignty and create your own reality. And that's what he's saying, Christ, okay? He's saying, he's not even asking me to use Jesus. He's saying that's Christ's message. And so obviously you guys know the Christ consciousness, all of that. You can look it up, but it's not religious, right? So he's actually coming through my readings and saying, steer away from those things. And if you're concerned, well, how much of it is real? How much should I keep? How much should I, whatever? He says that's all up to you, and you can always go inward. Everything that you need on the outside is going to be there on the inside. And he's giving us this blessing with the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is about moving forward to better waters, right? It's about exploring. This person's like exploring. And he's saying that's his guided message for today, because he's the guide, right? And he's overlooking humanity and wanting to give them this joy, this ability. Now earlier, this card, he's actually the one who laid the cards today. If you notice, the cards are these. I use these cards when it's really high vibe, because you can tell just the energy. It's so light. It's so light that if I'm dealing with a lot of trauma and things and like third parties, all that stuff, if it's a very dense energy, these cards wouldn't usually really come out, right? But it's all light. And when I was doing this card earlier, I just got the feeling of Easter. And that was before I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense, because the Christ is coming in. He's saying the emissary of light that is known as Christ consciousness. Okay, get it, all right. But this is also the Ace of Wands. This is the opportunity that he's offering us. Look at that. You can go one path or you can go the other. But he's saying you have to make a decision. You've got to make a decision. It's the time. So you can go on this in this kingdom here, or you can go on this earth here. Which way do you want to go? Right? And he's just saying it's your decision, but the kingdom of heaven is yours. So it's kind of like this is already yours. The kingdom of heaven is all yours. You not being a part of that, or you not being awakened to that in many ways, especially after today and watching this video and other instances, is you choosing to not turn your back on the kingdom of heaven. But it's kind of like that way, because it's kind of like, do I want to recognize myself as a sovereign being, and to see the Christ consciousness as part of that beautiful energy that already belongs to me if I claim it, all sorts of stuff? Or do I want to instead focus on these earthly things like, oh, this religion says this and I got to do that, and this politician this, and you know, and at the end of the day you're just feeding into systems that have literally been put in action for the sake of controlling your consciousness over and over and over and over and over again. So I'm guessing that if you're watching this video, this message is a wake-up call. And I'm seeing these little, like, they're flowers, but they look like flames, especially in the light. See the light and the way they were over there? They look like flames coming down upon you. So he's saying that there are literally flames, like sprinklings of flames of thought coming down, and it's catching the consciousness of those who are ready to hear it. And so I'm assuming that if you are on this call, then you are going to be able to hear it. It's funny because I always write down messages that I get randomly from Spirit throughout the day, and I write them down in a journal because they come to pass later, like 3 months later, years later. Though at the time it doesn't make sense. And one of the things that they wrote, and I felt really sad about it, but you know, whatever, is that they said, through no fault of your own, you're going to lose subscribers. And I was thinking it would be later on, that like next year or something, you're going to lose subscribers, but when it comes time to do so, let it go. And I was like, okay. First you tell me to let go of the guy that I love, and now you know, so I was feeling a certain way at the time, let's just put it that way. And now that I've kind of felt my energy shift a lot, I can see why they would say that, because the energy of this reading alone is so insanely high that, as you can see, I had trouble like even grasping it. And the reason why I had trouble grasping it is because I feel that he wants to channel more deeply. But you guys know I'm a control person. I'm like, no, you third person this. So I just have to release a little bit more, trust a little bit more. And before I even started this reading, I asked that only, using Misty's words, which have been so useful, only those of the highest light can stay in my presence. It's just to help guard, you know, as I do these messages. And so I would imagine that as time progresses, new people might come in and some people might leave. It doesn't matter, right? You get what you need wherever you are. But I do feel that this is a message that Christ is bringing through, the emissary of light, known as the Christ consciousness, is bringing through. He's smiling at that. Is bringing through is simple. Let's take a look at the actual cards. They say the same thing. Okay, judgment. Use your judgment. Use your judgment. Right. Look at that entity. That oh, I can't even say the words. That image. Remember we talked about a nice benefactor who, or whatever that is above. You can see that as your higher self. You can see that as whatever, but use your judgment in what it is that you're reaching for in earth. And he keeps driving this home. Let's go ahead and draw a card. There's definitely a message of serpentine going on here. He's saying use your judgment, because it is as simple as you're either following yourself or you are following an agenda that belongs to someone else, okay? That belongs to someone else. Oops. Okay, sorry, I'm just dropping things here. Okay. So a few cards came out here. Okay. Oh, okay. See, they just keep falling right out of my hand. All right, let me pause so I can read them. Okay, the first three I just picked up. I'm just hearing, oh, this is you. Oops. Okay, that's you also. Okay, thank you. This is you. Looking down, you're like, all right, show me what we have. All right, let's put you next to the Christ consciousness. God bless you. He's like, hey. Already. Okay. With these cards, this card, I was hearing enough is enough is enough is enough. You know that song? Look at this, the Queen of Swords. That's your energy. Look at the devil and the moon. This is basically what he was saying. And this always looks like the inside of a snake's mouth, to be honest. But this is what he's saying. Certain star beings with a negative agenda. Okay, the serpentine energy. Now, I'm not making a comment on which star beings these are, which extraterrestrial races these are. Some of you might be like, it's the reptilians, because everyone likes to call those names, right? But I'm just giving through my impressions, and you can do your research on that. But I'm seeing, because we don't know the full story, we don't know the exhaustive list of who's who, right? But I'm seeing that certain star beings and your energy, it's like enough. You gotta get to the point where, because these came out over you, he's saying you have to get to the point where it's like, enough is enough is enough. Once you say enough is enough and you start to live your own life in accordance with what you know to be true, the Queen of Swords, that's what she's about. She's that woman who's like, listen, this doesn't work for me anymore. I'm putting my sword down on this, and bye. Even the birds like, what's going on? Right? So once you make that decision, look at how this star being starts to turn white, just like this bird. The days are numbered after that, and the Christ consciousness is saying, you know why it's numbered? Because it's illusion. They have nothing over you except illusion. It's illusion, guys. And so I've always talked about the Course in Miracles, right? A Course in Miracles is all about, and it was actually said to be channeled by the energy we know to be Jesus, right? That's the history of that book, but that text, or that energy that came through that text. But what he's saying is that, and what the Course in Miracles is all about, is removing control over your mind. It's almost like decultifying somebody. That book would be great, kind of like if you were in a cult, to kind of get you out of that kind of mentality of control. Now, the way that people on earth are controlled, yes, we know physically, imprisonment, blah blah blah, the credit system, all different kinds of control, but it's illusion of sovereignty, illusion in relation to sovereignty. It goes back to that, who was it? Those, you know, in school we always learn about John Locke, Descartes, all those people, and I can't remember who it was that talked about what's it called, the social contract? Oh, I forgot the word. That might have been it, but anyway, the idea is that I agree to give you my control, give up my control to you, if you agree to give me things to feed me, house me, cleanse me, things like that. So government. Okay, and look what has resulted in you giving away everything and believing that what society is projecting, that's the word he's using, he's showing this, projecting, is real. And he's like, that is absolutely not true. And it's almost like when you open your eyes, when you literally open your eyes, things around you start to look very two-dimensional, because you start to see the facade of it all. And my question, because I wonder, how much would it actually look like a facade? Will we actually, because in the back of the Course in Miracles, they have the workbook, and the workbook takes a year, and you do the exercises each day for just a few minutes. It's not even that crazy, but into, like, not too long, maybe, I can't remember, a month into the workbook, there's an exercise that talks about starting to see flashes of light, like out of the corner of your eye, or like this, like that, and those are the beginnings of the light. For example, if you look at this McDonald's cup, to us it looks like a McDonald's cup, but as you work through those exercises, it starts to reveal the truth to you, because they're dismantling disbeliefs. So for example, the flashes of light would be the light that is the truth, but it's just the beginning of you being able to see the truth of what is actually here. So to us, the lie is that it's a McDonald's cup. And we see all these movies that say, there is no spoon, remember, in The Matrix? What if we were to go through the whole workbook, and what if things are really just light, as they say? And what if we realize that, oh my God, what we've been projecting onto that is completely different, you have to start asking, where are we getting these ideas from, right? Anyway, so without going way off, see, it seems like it's way off, right? But it's actually not. But thank you, Christ consciousness, for letting us know this. Let's keep it as practical as possible so we don't lose people, I guess. I don't know. But he's saying that there are certain star beings that have controlling interests over the earth. And he's saying in many of its satellites, okay? We're seeing the moon as well. All right, so many of its satellites. Okay, satellites. Isn't that one satellite? But I don't know. Or maybe they actually mean the actual machinery satellites. Either way, you do not have to fall prey, they're saying, anymore to the illusions that are being put out. And the way to do that is to recognize that you are under the influence, so to speak. That's why he's saying to exercise judgment. He's saying that you have everything that you need to create a better life for yourself. Notice how she's on these pentacles and she's holding this and there's one over her head. You have the mental faculties. You will have the resources you need. You will have the ability and the physical to walk yourself out of this illusion if you accept the cup of love, the cup of knowledge, the cup that is coming through with the Christ consciousness today, right? If you can accept that. And asking if you can accept it, guys, is not about asking, do you accept the Lord Jesus Christ in the religious way? It's not. Like, you just will never find that on my channel. To be honest, it's more like, are you accepting this acknowledgement? Inside the cup, I'm seeing codes. Yeah, okay. It could be DNA codes, light codes, things like that. Whatever you need to help, and I'm feeling this in my third chakra now, the solar plexus. Whatever it is that you need to clean out that junk, he's saying. Yes, of course he's saying junk DNA, but belief patterns, old ideas, things like that, whatever it is that you need. And I'm feeling it in the heart space coming up through the throat and out through the mouth. Okay, out through the mouth for me. So some of you might actually be feeling this now. You might actually be feeling little quick pains in certain parts of your body, like tense muscles, things like that. Those are clearings. Okay, so thank you. He's bringing that clearing through for us. For a lot of us, he's saying yes, but I'm seeing only half of this card being illuminated. So there are other things that need to be done for you guys, But I see, look, this one foot is hidden. He's saying you have to take the step and start to look up. He's saying start to look up. Who are these gods is what he's asking us to say. Who are these gods? He's telling us they're not gods. Oh, whoa. He wants to come over here. All right. Okay. Like, literally, guys, I kid you not. And he is bringing this over. And he's saying this person is not a god. He's saying this is a star being and they belong to another earthly influence. They are not gods. He's saying you are all gods. We're all gods. But how is it that we would elevate someone else above our own consciousness? He's saying he's not a god. In the voice of Oprah, I'm saying you're not a god. You're not, right? He's saying, look, these beings that we revere as gods are not gods. And he's saying many of our institutions are filled with these not gods, is what he's saying. So he's saying do with that as you will. However, and look, that's you cutely looking over. However, keep it real. All right? Keep it real. And he's also saying let me tune in for that one just a little bit closer. Because this is me, like, really? Yeah, he's saying illusion. He's saying just as there's no devil, star beings is what he's saying. Star beings. Okay? All right? So, thank you. Thank you. Now, that being said, we covered those two. Let's look at these two cards. Yeah, aw. Even, look, look at this. The kingdom of heaven for you. Now, heaven, yes, but it's not, the kingdom of heaven is used, he's saying in a, oh my God, my words. In an ethereal sense. Not like heaven as in the Bible and heaven as this. Heaven is in the ethereal sense. He's like, there is a place, there may be a few places, right? But he's saying the kingdom of heaven is yours, right? And it's almost like that's you, but you're not looking up, you're not facing the camera, so to speak. So it's kind of like, when are you going to claim it? The Four of Wands, as you guys know in Tarot, speaks of solid foundation, home, right? Now, he's also acknowledging, look, himself, coming from on high. Look, he wants on high, star being, all right? So look at the background. He's saying we're all brethren in the sky, but only some of us have chosen to claim dominion over the minds. And now again, he's showing me this serpentine kind of ribbing here. Although these are fish in the card, he's showing me it in terms of scales for a serpent. Oh, okay, that's why. Okay, that's significant. He's saying that, you know how, like, for example, he's saying, for example, like Christianity comes across as looking like the fish and the scales and the this and that. He's saying, actually, no, it's the serpent with the scales and the, you know, so do with it as you will, guys. You know me, I'm just a channel. I that's my job. Oh, God. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, guys. You guys know. I'm getting the words Mickey Mouse, okay? I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm just gonna look. Okay, no, he won't let me. He won't let me leave it. I don't leave it. He said, "Look at this card." He says, "Does that look like a cute Mickey Mouse? Does that look like ears to you and a cute circle?" Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because it's ridiculous. Anyway, I think we all can infer that with our faculties. He's saying that isn't a mouse. He's saying that's a goat. I'm just going to let it go. Because, look, guys, I'm a channel. That's what I'm doing. He's just saying that's a goat. That's all that is. That is all that is, he's saying. It's funny because I had a dream just last night. And in the dream, weirdly, I met with a Disney exec. Not in the dream, but in the moments after I had the dream, you know, that moment between sleep and wake, and I had a meeting with one of them. Anyway, we'll just let it go. All right. Ah, God. All right. So we see if my channel ever gets shut down, we know what happened. All right, so look at this. So he's saying, use your judgment. He's saying, nobody can force you to believe what it is that you, number one, don't want to believe. You're unwilling to. Because we see that even in our relationships, guys, right? No one can force you to believe something you're not ready to believe, is the second thing he's saying. And lastly, maybe, no one can force you to believe something that you are disinclined to believe. And he's saying, just trust that when you're ready to believe, you will. And I'm seeing this body here who has already passed, right? Look at, he's like, yay, I believe now. All right, so he's saying, if you cannot get to the place in your lifetime where you're able to believe and to truly follow up and to truly, if death is what he's saying, if death is where your belief becomes real, and I'm feeling my chakras start to kind of tingle here. If death is where you find your belief being solidified, he's like, that's fine. But these two cards came out together. But his message today is of the magician as the trickster. Okay? The magician as the trickster. And all right, okay, I feel self-conscious, and he's telling me, don't worry. This card, Nine of Swords, speaks of success. So he's like, success, don't worry. So I guess they're happy with the message I'm giving. Okay, good. But he's showing the Nine of Swords. Your nightmares, my child, he says, come not from you, but from the magicians in your midst, is what he's saying. Okay? So just just take that as it is. Now imagine if, oh my God, thank you, Christ. Oh my God, stop it. But don't stop. He's speaking of the Wizard of Oz. In the end, listen, I haven't even seen that movie really. I was a kid, come on. He's talking about what happened when the curtain was pulled back and they saw the magician was just some random guy and a machine, kind of, right? Imagine the feeling of like, dude, what the hell have I been doing all this time? Why has everyone been living in fear? You are just like me, if not even like shorter or something, you know what I mean? So that's what he's trying to say. They're trying to pull back the veil. Now, he's saying, and I like this, but I noticed these cards weren't completely touching yet. They were almost, they didn't come out like this. They came out like this, right? So it's almost touching, which tells me, and look at this, a lot of you are going to be thinking about it. He's saying that if you were brought to this page, some of you will even move forward and write about it. See the page of pens, my hand? So this message, I'm still seeing that, those ears, those mouse ears, I'm just going to keep it real. This message is for some of you who need to hear it. Well, if you came, everybody can hear it, but I'm getting an airplane almost. I'm hearing visitation rights. Okay? Anyway, the sun is about clarity. It's about bringing light. But Christ is saying this is not only about clarity and about bringing light. It's about righting wrongs. And now I'm getting a very Egyptian look to it. And I'm also getting a very Christian fish look to it. So this is corrective action. So the beings that are coming through here, I'm counting the Christ consciousness as one, they're trying to correct some things that have been put in motion in the past and that have led to this distortion of reality for so many people. Look at that. Look at those people. And I'm talking across eons maybe, but either way, I'm talking across time, right? People on earth living in deceit basically and not knowing it. And this is about clearing that up. And it's interesting because I'm noticing one of these eyes is covered, okay? Do with it as you will. But I'm seeing that this message is coming through because some of you are going to be writing about it, releasing it for some of you. Some of you I'm seeing release because it's going to cut a lot of these false beliefs. When you cut these false beliefs, what happens is you cut your seriousness that you attach to it. As simple as, oh, this holy figure is coming into town. I must go see them. That's seriousness that you're putting into it. And you're buying into it is what he's saying. Thank you, Spirit. And when you cut that belief, that false belief, by looking into the light and looking at the reality of things, and you start to realize that I'm sovereign and I've been sold something. There's a possibility I've been sold something. Not just in this lifetime, but lifetime after lifetime. I see these as little snakes starting to drop off of the sun. It starts to drop off because the illusion is being cleaned up. It's being cleared up. And they're saying it's a gift. And he's saying, whether it's the Christ consciousness himself or on behalf of star beings out there, they're saying we're sorry. So for a lot of them, they're apologizing and they're coming through and they're saying we're sorry for the nightmares, for the lies, right? For all of this. And so, yeah, I'm just seeing half of the sun now. That's significant, okay? So there are some people who aren't ready to say sorry or who don't want to. They want to continue on their path. But again, as I've said, many have evolved and have since come to the realization and they want to say sorry. You know? All right? So that's the joy of evolution. All right? So anyway, guys, that's the message. Interesting that has come through. Let's see if there's anything else that they would like to bring through. Is there anything else that you like to... They're saying that a lot of you will start to awaken to your higher selves. And part of that process is going to include awakening to who you are. Right? Oh, these cards are upside down. Awakening to who you are. As star beings, as this, as that, as blah, blah, blah. And you will carry a certain mission, they're saying. Not only to help the world, but to rid yourself as well of any things within you that need to be cleansed, that need to be healed, any distortions, right? And also karma. So let's be honest, guys, we all were bad people in different incarnations. We all have done bad things, just as we've all been good people. We've all done great things. And when we do things to hurt and put certain energies out there, distortions out there, it is kind of still our responsibility to retrace our steps and to bring love and light and illusion and not illusion. Okay, not illusion as in distortion. Oh, illumination. That's the word. Illumination into place. All right, interesting. Let's see if this card wanted to turn upside down. Sorry guys, one sec. Okay. So I've gotten a few messages. For some of you, I feel that Two of Pentacles speaks of being in between two minds, but making a decision. But what I'm seeing here, for some of you, there may be separation from somebody, Six of Cups, right? For the sake of doing whatever your sacred journey is, right? We know that. But I'm also seeing, and that in itself brings justice, they're saying, brings justice and brings, justice, okay? But I'm also seeing this as them stepping down and giving you, if you, the viewer, something to hold on to. It's like bloop, right? It's coming down to you and you're receiving it, right? They're saying our separated cousins from the sky. So remember, there's similarity, as above, so below. But if this is you on earth, right now, a lot of you are not in connection with them, right? But they're showing this bloop coming to you. And we're seeing that for either way, it's knowledge. It's knowledge. All right? Okay. Alrighties, guys. So, let's take the message as it comes. You know, it is what it is for today. And, we'll take it. And we thank all of those who have come in spirit to help us with this message. Thank you guys for listening. Sometimes not sometimes, I always just give what comes and that's it. And so he's saying, ring the bell. Aw. All right. Oh, that's a nice ring to it. All right, thank you. Okay, guys, have a blessed day. More personal readings to come. Still working on those. Also, if you like a personal reading, go ahead and order one, but just know that there is a 2-week limit at this time, so just a heads up, okay? And donations are also welcome as well. Thank you so much. Mwah. Bye.